Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon. When is the SAP reset date?
November the 21st.
Thank you. Okay, courtroom 2 or ACDC, whenever you all are ready.
And Judge, before
Can
we
we
get
start
started,
with Mr. Harvey in medical?
Okay, well, yes, Mr. Howard.
Judge, just briefly, just wanted to introduce a new attorney with our office that will be handling some of the cases on the calendar today. Ms. Hoda Atai. All right, so you'll be seeing more of her. You probably have seen her sort of on the Zoom, but not participating up until now, but just wanted to introduce her to the court, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Welcome, Mr. Howard. We're happy to have
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
you also. And Mr. Howard, I do know that we had that issue that is stemming from last, I believe, Friday. Have you all
Yes.
been able to deal with that matter? And is there an announcement for the court, or do we have to redress that matter? Is that the young man here in jail courts?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Mr. John?
Yes.
Yes, Judge. And we, if you'd like to do a quick breakout, Ms. Falk, so I can explain, if we can do that, Judge. Yes, we do have an update for that.
Okay, let me start off with that since that is lingering
Okay.
Friday. Who do we need to have in that breakout, Mr. Howard?
Just Ms. Falk and I in jail courts. I guess iPhone or
Okay, and myself. Or do you all want to go in there?
Yes, just
And myself.
yes, just you and Ms. Falk and I, Judge, will be fine.
Okay. Okay.
I'm here too, Judge, Mrs. Harvey.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mrs. Harvey. I know that we spoke with Mrs. Harvey on Friday. Do we need her at this time, Mr. Howard?
I don't, from my perspective, no, Judge.
Okay, we'll be back with you, Ms. Harvey.
Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, Miss Holly. Hey, this is Francois. I was just trying to see what was going on because our computer had shut down. So,
Oh, okay. Good afternoon. They went in a breakout for position number 10, Mr. Harvey.
okay.
They just went into a brief breakout.
Okay, thank you, Miss Holly.
And they didn't even put me in it. So it was meant for me to talk with you to let you know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Did you want me to put you in the breakout room?
I'm fine, babe. Now watch him come out and ask me something. But I'm great, Casey.
Can I please go in the breakout room? I don't mean to cut you off.
Well, I guess if Mr. Pierre Thomas is going, I'll go too.
Well, don't leave me at the party.
Oh, hey, more the merrier. Casey?
And if you could put Miss Body in as well.
Oh,
If that's the case, then we all have to get together. Me and
see what you
PD
started, Mr. Thomas.
Captain and PD Iona. Just kidding. We're gonna be here fine.
I don't think she could hear us.
Were y'all talking to me?
Yeah, we're
I'm sorry, I
wanting to
walked
go
away.
in. Yeah, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Walker, and myself are asking to be let into the breakout room.
And Miss
Okay,
Body
I
as well.
apologize, but when they asked, I didn't know.
No, I know. No problem.
So who, you, Miss Holly, Thomas, and who else?
Body.
Mr. Walker.
Hey, iPhone 13 Pro Max, you guys need to close we're gonna kick y'all out. Cannot be, you have to have clothes on.
iPhone 13 as well. If you're gonna be on, you have to sit up. iPhone 13 Pro Max.
Okay, yes, Mr. Harvey, who is position number 10 on the calendar, was a holdover from last Friday when I had requested of his attorney to see if we could get additional information as far as placement is to be done. It appears that that has been done. As such, the bond will be I'm going to convert the $5,000 surety bond to a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. With various other conditions that Mr. Howard that have been discussed already and that Mr. Howard will put on the bond order. He will be released on Wednesday, I believe, to Leonard Harvey, his father, who will be picking him up from where he is now. So if Mrs. Harvey is still on the line, that's what we discussed in the breakout room, Mrs. Harvey. So we again appreciate you being here on Friday, and we appreciate you being here again for us today.
Okay, thank you.
If there's nothing further, yes, Ms. Falk, anything further?
Just going to say, Your Honor, that concludes my business with the court. It may be excused.
Yes, have a good afternoon. Thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, Judge Morrow, you said it's a signature bond through pretrial, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's 5,000.
Thank you.
Okay, so where would you all like to go now?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is ACDC. Before you is position number 2, Miss Rashida Bennett. And after that, whenever the Spanish interpreters are ready, we are ready.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Bennett. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir. I do.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bennett. You've been charged in case 23 CR 0068948 with battery family violence. Is there a history?
No, sir.
I'm asking, thank you, ma'am. Yes, Ms. Hardy.
This defendant doesn't have any history to report.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Pierre Thomas. Good
Your
afternoon.
Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor. The brief facts of the case is that on November 4th, 2023, the officer was dispatched to 8311 Millam Loop in South Fulton, which is the incident location in reference to a battery. The officer made contact with the caller, who's the victim Brielle, Brielle, Lowe, traditional spelling. At the front door of the residence, the victim stated that she and her girlfriend, the defendant, lived together and got into a verbal altercation that turned physical over a TV remote. The victim stated that she was already in the residence watching TV when the defendant came home. The victim told the defendant that she was not going to give her the remote. The defendant then went in to get the remote, striking the victim's arm. The victim had visible bruises on her arm when officers arrived. The victim also stated that her hair was pulled by the defendant. Officers observed the victim's hair on the floor of the residence. Our office was able to get in contact with the victim. I do believe she's on the call, so if you can sound for her at the appropriate time in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. However, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact, stay away, and the completion of a family violence intervention program.
If Miss Brielle Lowe is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I will need for you to activate your camera and unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Ms. Lowe, are you with us? I don't see her, Mr. Pierre Thomas. Ms. Abdom, if it's okay with you, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Brielle Lowe, and 1 day anger awareness. No No anger awareness, I'm sending it through the jail, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
No objection, Your Honor. Just for the record, my client does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant.
Okay. Good luck to you, Miss Burnett.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon, Judge Morrow. We're gonna be starting position 12, Mr. Jones.
Okay, thank you, Francois. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006904J with simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
No, sir.
No.
Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 3 arrest cycles. The last arrest was December the 29th, 2020 out of Sandy Springs for driving without a license. Nothing further to report. They do meet the criteria for UJR through pretrial.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. P.O. Thomas?
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on November 4th, 2023, the officer responded to a domestic dispute at the incident location, that incident location being 6850 Peachtree Dunwoody Road, apartment 1332, Sandy Springs. The victim advised that she called 911 during a dispute with the defendant, and at some point, he attempted to take her phone. She further stated that Jones pushed her to the ground in anger. Officers spoke with the juvenile daughter of both the victim and the defendant, who reported that she witnessed her father push her mother to the ground during the altercation. The officer did not observe any physical marks or injuries on the victim, however, did notice evidence of the physical struggle in the kitchen, including the spilled liquid and various items scattered on the floor. Your Honor, our office has been able to get in contact with the victim, who confirmed the incident in the warrant. She states that they no longer are in a relationship. They do not live together. They share one child. She states that the defendant basically was drunk and was arguing with her and getting loud, and he refused to leave. She states that she does not want him to return to the residence. I do believe she is on the call. If we could sound for her, Miss Ashley Sanchez, at the appropriate time in accordance with Marcy's law. But the state's recommendation is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with that victim, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
If Ms. Ashley Sanchez is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Kim or Mr. Pierre Thomas, have either of you spoken with Ms. Ashley Sanchez?
Yes, our office has spoken with her, and so the statements I gave about her not wanting,
Okay.
She's okay with contact. She does not want him to return to the residence.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay. As such, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ashley Sanchez. And you said she doesn't have a problem with the stay away?
She wants the stay away. She doesn't want him returning to the residence. She's okay with contact. I'm assuming that's because they share that child together. The state is asking for a no contact. They can communicate through a third party, but we leave it to the discretion of the court.
Okay. Stay away from the 6850 Peachtree Dunwoody Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. There can be contact with Ms. Sanchez regarding transfer of the child for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 22, Sanders.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sanders. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006914Y with battery family violence. violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 7 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia and Mississippi, a felony conviction in 2013 for forgery. The last arrest was June 20th, 2021 out of Fulton for a simple battery. There's 2 probation violations. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR pretrial level 2. And that's because they have an 84% chance to reappear for court and a 65% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Is the 2021 a simple battery, is that open or was that a conviction?
It was a conviction out of Fulton in 2021.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2050 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Pamela Short, who advised that her boyfriend of 5 years, Mr. Sanders, and herself were engaged in a verbal altercation that turned physical. He did strike her in the face. The officer did observe visible swelling to the victim's face. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with the victim, Ms. Pamela Short. Stay away from the incident location. We are asking for the condition of an FVIP course while out on bond. No weapons, drugs, and or alcohol. And of course, I would sound for the victim, Ms. Pamela Short. Thank you.
Has your office spoken with Ms. Short, Mr. Walker?
Check my notes one more time.
And if Ms. Short is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Do not believe we have spoken to her. If she's on the line, we would ask her to be sounded for.
Okay, I just sounded for it. Doesn't appear that she's on the line,
Okay.
Mr. Walker.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yes. Mr. Todd?
Hi, good afternoon, Your Honor. My client, he states that he has not spoken with Pamela Short in 2 years. And he's unclear what happened on April. He reported his car stolen on November 3rd, and then he was arrested on the warrant for an incident that may have occurred in April. He states that the case has been dismissed. I wasn't able to find anything related to an arrest or other than what's stated in the warrant in April, but he states that he hasn't spoken with Pamela Short in 2 years. So that would be well before the incident. I don't know what the stay away order, what location it's for, but I don't think that either of them are there anymore. He's currently at 2050 Joseph E. Boone. I don't know if that's the location.
That was the location.
Okay, well, so that's his home that he's been, living in for, I think, a year or 2 years. So I would object to the stay away order because of that he hasn't had contact with Pamela Short, and I wasn't able to get in touch with her. I did get in touch with my client's brother, and he confirmed that they have not spoken or had any interaction in over a year. So that would, I don't know what happened in April, but my client denies the allegations. And the brother did tell me that Pamela Short was trying to get in touch with his contacts about 8 months ago and kind of, harassing him on Facebook and reaching out to his friends. So that indicates that they also haven't been in contact. So I think that we would object to a stay away order and ask for a signature on bond. He is making $800 a month through disability payments and cannot afford a bond.
Okay, and you all will continue to represent him?
Yes, and also he has a 9-year-old daughter that he takes care of.
All right, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pre-trial level 2. No further contact with Ms. Short. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Good luck to you, Mr. Sanders.
Position 17, Odom.
Good afternoon, Mr. Odom. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Odom, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006909Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant is a multi-state offender with arrest out of Georgia and New York. Last arrest was May the 5th, 2023 out of Fulton for criminal damage to property and battery. That case is still open. The number is 23 CP 218958. There is a felony conviction in 2010 for theft by receiving stolen property, possession of the tools for commission of a crime, and criminal damage to property where they received first offender treatment, and it was sealed in 2018. There is a 2013, looks like U.S. probation is the agency listed. It says attempt conspiracy to commit fraud. They were sentenced to 54 months confinement, 60 months probation on November the 20th, 2014. It's showing that probation ends 5/26/2027. And the recommendation from pretrial is UJR level 3, and that's because they have a 79% chance to reappear for court and a 55% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1040 Huff Road, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Imani Jackson. She advised to law enforcement officers that her and her child's father were engaged in a verbal altercation that turned physical. At that time, he did spit and slap on the victim. We have made contact with the victim. She advised they do share one child together. They do have a history of domestic violence. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, Ms. Imani Jackson, a stay away from 1040 Huff Road, third-party transfer of their child, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And I did look up that 23 CP case. That is a different victim from the victim that's in this case, Your Honor.
And what was the bond given on that, Mr. Walker? Do you know?
I believe it's
$7,500.
$7,500 signature.
Okay, and tell me again the name of the alleged victim.
In this case, it's Imani Jackson.
Thank you. If Ms.
1040 Huff Road.
Yeah. Ms. Jackson is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Odom, is 31 years old, and he is responsible for 1 year old, 10 years old daughter. I mean, not 1 year, 10 years old daughter, Your Honor. He's gainfully employed as he does have a business for import and export, and he is making enough money not to be qualified for public defender services. Your Honor, he completed GED, and he has no objection to stay away from Imani Jackson. Her house, 1040 Huff Road, is actually where she resides. So my client has no objection to stay away from that location, and no further contact. We have no objection as well. And we're okay with signature on bond through pretrial. Thanks.
As such, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 3, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Jackson, stay away from the Huff Road address. I'm not going to keep you away from your children, Mr. Odom, but there is to be third-party transfer for visitation, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Mr. Odom.
Thank you.
Position 18, Pope.
And just to let you know, I saw that the Spanish interpreter came on the line. So whenever you all want to deal with those, that or those cases, please just let me know.
That's going to be at ACDC, Judge Morrow, with Ms.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pope. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Okay. Officer Milton, who is
Señora Martinez, siéntate, por favor. Gracias. Thank you. And then
Yeah.
after her, Señorita Herrera can come up.
Okay, and who's representing these young ladies?
I'm representing Maria Herrera, and I'm ready for the breakout.
Okay, and the case that I have in front of me in courtroom 2, is that your case, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so
Yes.
if we can put ACDC, Mr. Ty, and good afternoon, Madam Interpreter. Thank you for being here this afternoon. If we can put her also in the first shot. Okay. All right, I apologize, Mr. Pope. I just wanted to get them into a breakout room. Again, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. You have been charged in case 23 CR 006910J with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 22 arrest cycles out of Georgia, a felony conviction in 2010 for burglary. There's a 2008 misdemeanor conviction for criminal trespass, 2013 disorderly conduct, 2014 obstruction of law enforcement, 2023 criminal trespass. Their last arrest was January the 7th, 2023 out of Spalding for disorderly conduct. They appear to be on probation out of Spalding. There's 3 probation violations, and the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2 because they have an 84% chance to appear for court and a 65% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 174 Howard Street, where they spoke to the victim, a Ms. Waukesha Carson. She advised that her ex-boyfriend came to her home uninvited and threw a brick through her bedroom window. We are asking for a $1,500 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, no further contact with Ms. Waukesha Carson. I omitted from the fact pattern, but it's alleged that he was inebriated and under the influence while he committed this act. So we are asking for an alcohol drug evaluation, along with no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, I would sound for the victim, Ms. Waukesha Carson.
If Ms. Carson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Does not appear so, Mr. Walker. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Pope is 33 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia, Your Honor, and he has 3 minor children, 3, 10, and 16 years old. And last month, he lost his job, so he has not been having any income for 1 month. And because of that, he's qualified for public defender services, and we will be continuously representing him. Besides that, he also has a disability, so his medical condition really needs a lot of attention. So we strongly recommend for signature on bond. He also has to be released to Spalding County, so that way he's not going anywhere. He's just gonna move from this Rice Street to Spalding County. So we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial. And that's it, Your Honor. Thanks. We have no objection to stay away and no further contact.
There'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Carson, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Pope. You're welcome, Ms. Kim.
Position 13, Mansilla.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mansilla. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I do agree.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006906B with driving under the influence of alcohol, concentration of 0.08 grams or more, and improper or erratic lane change. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 6 arrest cycles in Georgia, a misdemeanor conviction for DUI in 2013. Their last arrest was December the 18th, 2017, out of Roswell for simple battery, 1 probation violation. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. And that's because they have an 84% chance to reappear for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement pulled over the defendant for making an erratic lane change. Upon making contact with the defendant, they did observe or smell the odor of alcohol coming from his person. The defendant did admit to consuming 2 beers prior to getting behind the wheel. Field sobriety tests were run, and at that time he was taken into custody. To the 1 count DUI, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond. To the 1 count of erratic lane change, we are asking for a $500 surety bond. Of course, we are asking for no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond, Your Honor.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 31 years old. The previous DUI is relatively remote, Your Honor. We would like to request for signature on bond through the pretrial as he is recommended for level 2. He's gainfully employed and doing landscaping, and he's not going to be qualified for public defender services. He completed up to 9th grade education, and he has been here in Georgia for 20 years, and he has a minor child here, so he's not going anywhere. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, for the DUI, it's a $1,500 good bond. For the erratic lane change, it's a $500 good bond. It makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Is it okay? Is it okay if I
Please, Mr. Mastila, I'll be happy to explain to you. You have a right to remain silent.
Okay, you're done. Position 16, Miller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006907G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
There's no history to report for this defendant, and they meet the criteria for UJR level 1. They have a 91% chance to reappear for court and an 87% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 625 Leitrim Way, that is spelled Leitrim Way, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Kenju Miller. She advised that the defendant were engaged in a verbal altercation where he snatched her off of the bed and grabbed her by the neck and threw her down to the ground. She did suffer scratches to her right hand and her pinky and her right foot. We have made contact with the victim. The victim is concerned about her safety. With that being said, we are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, and we are also asking for no weapons or drugs or alcohol while out on bond. Of course, we would stand for the victim, Ms. Kenju Miller.
I'm sorry, Mr. Walker. Has your office spoken with Ms. Miller?
We have.
And tell me again, what was her request as far as contact?
She's in fear for her safety, so she's asking for no contact.
Okay. If Ms. Miller is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ms. Miller. I'm going to have you, if you'd like to address me, I'm happy to hear you, but I'll have to have you raise your right hand for me.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down, Ms. Miller. What would you like to tell the court?
Clifton is, I'm a disabled veteran and Clifton is my primary care provider. I understand that it's either contact or no contact, but he and I manage a household and a business. It is imperative that he and I are able to communicate with each other. I had asked if we could at least communicate via telephone, just to make sure, bills can be paid, everything can be, orchestrated. But I would like to stay away honored.
Okay. Leitrim Way address, do you both live there?
We do.
And has this ever happened before?
Not to where the police were called, but there has over the years been proceeding physical contact that is aggressive in nature. This is the first time it has ever gone to this extent.
Okay. And I take it that you're in fear of him.
Of it happening again, yes.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Miller?
No, thank you.
Okay. We appreciate you being here this afternoon. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Miller is actually 34 years old. Even though he was born in Illinois, he has been living here in Georgia more than 32 years. He's gainfully employed at one Kanto. He's an IT technician. He has a bachelor's degree, and he's not going to be qualified for public defender services. Your Honor, this is his first arrest ever. We would like to request for a UJR, signature on bond through the jail, and he has no objection to stay away as long as Ms. Miller feels comfortable with a no for the violent contact to make sure that he can support her. It is for the benefit of Ms. Kanjua Miller that he would like to have a contact. They are actually married, Your Honor. So that would be it. Thank you.
It will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Miller. He's to stay away from the Leitrim Way address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you both, Mr. and Mrs. Miller.
Thank you.
Position 9, Harris.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harris. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006903E with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 2 arrest cycles in Georgia. The last arrest was December the 12th, 2016 out of Villa Rica for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Bear with me. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR jail. They have a 91% chance to reappear for court and an 87% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr.
Your Honor,
Pierre,
brief facts of the case is that the officer arrived to the incident location being 448 Thacker Way, THACKERAY, Place, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia. There, the victim advised that she and her uncle, the defendant, got into a physical altercation in the kitchen over his cell phone. She stated that the defendant asked for his cell phone back, and she told him that she would as soon as she was done talking, and that's when he proceeded to physically take the phone from her, causing her to hit her knee on the kitchen's counter, and she sustained small scratches on her hand and wrist due to the altercation. We have been able to get in contact with the victim in this matter. I do believe that she's on the call. The victim's name is Ariana, Ariyanna Harris, traditional spelling. If we could sound for her at the appropriate time in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. But the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact, a stay away, and 1 anger management course.
If Ms. Harris is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Does not appear so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection to UJR signature on bond through jail. We strongly prefer to have a no for the violent contact. They are actually they live together, and the complaining witness is 21 years old niece, and their mothers living together. It is grandmother's house, and yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a no for the violent contact, he has his father's place that he can go to.
And Your Honor, if I could correct something for the record, the mother of the victim is on the call, Wendy Harris. I don't believe the victim has a cell phone, but if you would like to speak to the mother of the victim is on the call.
Mr. Pierre Thomas, have you spoken with the alleged victim, Ms. Ariana Harris?
No, we've spoken with the mother of the victim, Ms. Wendy Harris.
Okay, if Ms. Wendy Harris is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Ms. Harris.
I think we may need to refrain from referring to the sensitive topics that she spoke to the state about.
Okay, Ms. Harris, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down, Ms. Harris. What would you like to tell the court?
I just wanted to say that this has never happened before, and this is my son's primary home residence, and and there's some issues that he's under medical care, and that's my focus, and that's our family's focus, and unfortunately, this situation with the phone just happened. And I think my son had my oldest son had told his brother that he needed to, get his phone because he was trying to get in contact with him to talk to him, so that we could just kind of stay in contact and make sure things are okay. But then, I don't know why my youngest son, Samuel, why he, responded the way he did, the aggression. I don't know if there was conversation, if he had asked for the phone and she would give it to him, that he's never responded like in that manner before. So this is just new to us. We just, but this so.
And you want your son back in the household? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Harris?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I'm there, so this won't happen again. We just need to get whatever the issue with the phone, get that resolved. If I have to take the phone and nobody have the phone, whatever we need to do, but it won't happen again.
Appreciate you being here this afternoon, Ms. Harris. As such, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Ms. Ariana Harris. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you all.
Your Honor, for the record, I would like to raise the objection about any mention of facts of the case, since she was not at the scene, and everybody else's testimony, his older brother or younger brother, those are all hearsay. So we would like to object to those statements of the facts. Thanks.
And if I could just correct it, that is the victim's grandmother.
Okay. Objection and corrections noted. Good luck to you all. Who do we have next?
Position A, Hampton.
Do we need to take anybody else back into the breakout room and ACDC to speak with Madam Interpreter?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Martinez.
And who represents Ms. Martinez?
Attorney Maureen McLeod is here, Your Honor.
Oh, Ms. McLeod. Ms. McLeod, are you with me?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm here.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. McLeod. I'm going to place you into the breakout room with courtroom 2 and Madam Interpreter, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your
All
Honor,
right.
if I could just communicate one thing to Ms. McLeod, I didn't realize she was the attorney of record, but for Martinez and is it the other cross defendant, it's a diversion offer. I sent it to PD Kim and PD Abden, but I can forward that to Attorney McLeod. The diversion paperwork.
Okay, I'm not sure if, it looks like she went into the breakout room, Mr. Walker. Thank you, though. And you sent that through to her in
I
the
sent it to
chat?
the wrong PD. I sent it to
I'll
PD
be
Kim and
happy
PD
to.
Abden. I can
Okay.
send it to the conflict attorney.
Okay, yes, if you'll do that, if you'll just put that in the chat for us, Mr. Walker, I'd
Sure.
appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, courtroom 2, I'm sorry, tell me again who we have?
Position 8, Hampton.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Hampton. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Sir.
Thank you. Mr. Hampton, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006900E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 7 arrest cycles in Georgia. The last arrest was April the 9th of this year out of Cobb for simple battery, and that case does appear to be open. There's also an open case out of Clayton County for driving while license suspended or revoked. 1 FTA. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. They have a 79% chance to appear for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Yeah, a brief facts of the case is that on November 5th, 2023, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that incident location being 491 Lucky Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia, in regards to a dispute call that was called by an anonymous caller. The officer observed the victim as having a swollen knot on her right side of her temple, in the temple area. The victim's name is Sharika, Shureka Biggs, Biggs. The victim stated that she went upstairs to see the defendant who was on the phone. She advised that she came close to him and asked him what he was doing. She stated that he went downstairs and she went upstairs into her room after they had argued about money. The victim stated that she was in her room when he grabbed her phone and her hand and struck her in the head with it. She stated that he continued to threaten her because of the dispute over the money. The victim stated that she advised her friend, Miss Pinkney, to call the police. Miss Pinkney advised and spoke to the officer and advised that she saw the defendant strike the victim and stated that it was multiple times and that he struck her with the phone. The victim advised that the defendant stayed at her apartment rent-free for months. That is the indicia for the family violence. Your Honor, our office has been in contact with the victim in this case. She states that she's no longer in a relationship with the defendant. They do not live together. They share no children. She states that she's in fear and does not wish to have any contact with him. She states that she wants the defendant to stay away from her residence, and she would like, and he does not have any belongings at her residence that he needs to return and retrieve. I do believe she's on the call, so if we can sound for her at the appropriate time, that'd be greatly appreciated. It appears that she's also the victim out of the case in Cobb. That's 2023 simple batteries out of Cobb. So with everything being said, Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is that the defendant receive a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with either the victim or Miss Pinkney, the witness, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if we can sound from Ms. Biggs at this time, in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Ms. Biggs, I see you on the line with us. If you would like to address the court, you of course do not have to, but if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If so, I will need you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, who's representing Mr. Hampton?
It's me, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Mr. Hampton is 33 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. And actually, he has been gainfully employed at U.S. Post Office as a supervisor for the last 5 years. And he graduated from high school successfully. And he has one child that he's paying child support. He's not going to be qualified for public defender services. And Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond through jail if it's possible. That would be the best thing. We have no objection to stay away and no further contact. They do not live together, and he's totally okay with not having any contact. Thank you.
I'm concerned about the alleged victim being a victim in another open case. As such, it's going to be a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Biggs. Stay away from the Lucky Street address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, sir.
Judge, which attorney is actually on the breakout with the Spanish interpreter?
That's Ms. McLeod.
Ms. McLeod, okay. Position 23, Stokes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stokes. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Stokes, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006915H with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history?
This defendant is a multi-state offender with arrests out of Georgia and Texas. Felony conviction in 1995 for possession of controlled substance. 2005, theft by receiving and fleeing and attempting to elude. 2008, entering auto. There's a misdemeanor conviction in 2002 for theft by taking. There appears to be a hold out of Lawrenceville for probation. It doesn't give the date of the warrant. Their last arrest was October 29th, 2023 out of Sandy Springs for driving while license suspended or revoked. And they appear to be on probation out of Fulton for driving while license suspended or revoked. 6 probation violations, 1 FTA, and the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. They have a 79% chance to appear for court and a 65% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 6400 Peachtree Dunwoody Road, which is the Home Depot. They spoke to the staff on site at that location. They advised that the defendant was captured on surveillance footage taking or concealing impact wrench valued at $259. At that time, warrants were taken out for the defendant's arrest. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from Home Depot, located at 6400 Peachtree Dunwoody Road. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Mr. Ty, if it's okay with you, I'm going to release him to the hold. It will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Home Depot on Peachtree Dunwoody Road, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Stokes.
Positions 20 and 21, Samuels.
Good afternoon, Mr. Samuels. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Sir.
Thank you. Mr. Samuels, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006912A with 2 counts of theft by deception, and in case 23 CR 006913A with theft by taking. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 5 arrest cycles in Georgia. The last arrest was October 26, 2023 out of Fayette for entering auto. There appears to be a hold out of Fairburn for theft by deception. The date on that is October 30th, 2023. There appears to be 2 open cases. One for aggravated assault, 23 CP 222820, and armed robbery, 23 CP 222819. And the recommendation from pretrial is UJR level 2. They have an 84% chance to appear for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Sorry about that, Your Honor. In the case with the 2 counts of theft by deception, the defendant is accused of selling power tools to a Fairburn pawn shop located at 33 Southwest Broad Street. We are, in that case, asking for a $1,000 surety bond on each count and a stay away from that location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. Do you want to go into position 21?
Please.
Okay, in position 21. The defendant is accused of, of stealing a saw from a construction site located at the Family Dollar in East Point. The address is 2433 Headland Drive. In that case, we are asking for a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from the instant location, 2433 Headland Drive in East Point, Georgia. And no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. Ty?
Your Honor, this is a Riverside issue. My client was arrested on November 3rd at 10 a.m. So we're asking for a signature on bond through the jail with no restrictions. And I can speak further if needed.
Mr. Walker?
1 second. The signature bonds are fine, Your Honor.
Okay, it will be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each count. So for count 20, that'll make for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from 33 South Broad Street. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Position 21, a total of $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Family Dollar on Headland Drive. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Good luck to you, Mr. Samuels.
You're done. You're done. You got a signature bond.
Next, we have,
Mr. Routes.
and after that, Your Honor, we'll be ready with for the Spanish interpreter.
Okay, so who do we have in courtroom 2 again for me, please?
This is position 19, Mr. Rosati.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Rosati. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor, and thank you in advance.
Thank you. Mr. Rosati, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006911 with battery family violence. Is there a history?
This defendant has 4 arrest cycles in Georgia. Their last arrest was July the 23rd, 2022 out of Dawson County for DUI and purchase, possession, manufacture, sale, or distribution of marijuana. No probation violations, FTAs. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. They have an 84% chance to appear for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1025 Pitts Road in Sandy Springs, Georgia. They spoke with the victim, Ms. Shiva Gobadi. She advised that the defendant and her were engaged in a verbal altercation over a pet bird, at which that time he became physical. He did push her to the ground and drug her by the hair. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, and stay away from the incident location. We are asking for FBIP and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, we would ask that we sign for the victim and Ms. Shiva Gobadi. Thank you.
If Ms. Gabati is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. And has your office spoken with Ms. Gabati, Mr. Walker?
I do not believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Ty?
Your Honor, my client is a 30-year resident of Sandy Springs, Georgia. He is a double graduate from Georgia State University. He owns a business called Arta Blinds. He would not qualify for our services after today. He denies the allegations. He states that the complaining witness was the first aggressor, and the booking photos will show deep scratches on his neck. She took his phone and attacked him. After he left, she called the police. He states that she's been out of the country and she was at the residence to move out. And I did speak with her. She confirmed that she has all of her belongings ready to go out of the home. She has her things already packed in the suitcase. We would object to a stay away from the location because that's my client's home. And he has a renter in the basement. That's the 1025 Pitts Road. So we would strongly object to a stay away from that location because it is his home. And after speaking with her, it's clear that she told me that she was planning on moving out of the state to California or Maryland, and she is leaving as soon as possible and will be staying with friends tonight.
Okay. It will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 2, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Gabati. I'm not going to keep him away from his residence, but it appears that Ms. Gabati needs to pick up the rest of her things, so he cannot be there because he cannot have any contact with her when she does that. As such, he can occupy that residence as long as she is not there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, sir.
Can I ask one question?
Mr. Ty, you have a right to remain silent, sir. Anything you say can be used against you. Mr. Ty, if it's a question regarding my bond, then
Yes.
I'm happy to hear it. But if it has anything to do with anything else, you probably want to advise him.
Yes. Is it a question on the bond?
I just want to know if in a future date we care to reconcile with one another since we still love each other. If there's an opportunity, the court will provide for that.
You would have to seek a modification of this bond order properly through the court. So you can't just violate the bond on your own. You'd have to come back to court and you'd have to modify the bond to make sure that you're not violating it. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 1, Bailey.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bailey. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006893C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Okay.
This defendant has 3 arrest cycles in Georgia. Their last arrest was October 30th, 2022 out of Fulton for possession, purchase, manufacture, sale, distribution of marijuana, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance. That case is still open. The number is 22 CP 213568. There appears to be a hold out of Fairburn. The date on that is 5/20/2023. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2 They have an 84% chance to appear for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on November 4th, 2023, the officer made contact with a non-student, the defendant, who was, he observed a non-student who was making an unauthorized visit to the incident location, that incident location being Heritage Commons at Clark Atlanta University, located at 223 James P. Brawley Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton. After he made that unauthorized visit after being told to leave, he then re-entered the premises through a deactivated fire exit where he was caught. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from that incident location, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pierre Thomas. Ms. Abden, if it's okay with you, I am going to send him through the jail. It will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from Heritage Commons on James Brawley Drive, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Is that
My apologies, Your Honor. Since he is through the jail, if I could just add the additional facts, he was originally trespassed during the same time for having a physical altercation with his girlfriend. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Okay, so he's not to go back to this Heritage Commons dormitory or building. All right, Ms. Abden.
Yeah, no objections. He will agree to the stay away. There are 3 other warrants. It sounds like they're going to be handled on felony first appearance. So I just wanted to make him aware of that because we weren't sure when I spoke with him earlier.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Bailey.
Come on, Mr. DuBose. Position 4, DuBose.
Good afternoon, Mr. DeVos. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Sir.
Thank you. Mr. DeVos, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006898J with reckless conduct. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant, bear with me, Your Honor, I'm sorry. Okay, this defendant has 24 arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction for criminal trespass in 2017, 2022 disorderly conduct and criminal trespass, 2022 criminal trespass. There's a felony conviction in 2017 for burglary. The last arrest was October 23rd, 2023 out of Fulton for battery. They have an open case, 23 SC 0044448J for criminal trespass, 23 CR 006622J for obstruction, 23 CR 006623J simple battery and criminal trespass. There's 2 probation violations, and the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. There's a 79% chance that they will reappear for court and a 55% chance that they will remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Ms. Hardy. Mr. Pierre Thomas.
A brief facts of the case is that on November 4, 2023, the officer was performing a drop at the incident location of 1683 Lakewood Avenue, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton County, Georgia. While at the location, Officer Walker entered the gas station to use the restroom. When the officer exited the gas station, he spotted the defendant sticking something into his right tailpipe. The officer approached the defendant and asked him what he was doing. The defendant immediately walked away and said he was doing nothing. The officer checked the tailpipe and noticed that the defendant had stuck a lighter inside the tailpipe. The officer had previously arrested the defendant and believes that he was targeted and that he was potentially put in a situation where his vehicle could have caught on fire. Your Honor, would just like to bring to the court's attention that there was a criminal trespass and a willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer conviction in 2023. Looks like the conviction date would have been August 2023. So he received 12 months suspended, a 12-month suspended sentence. He would have still been on probation for this case. He has those 3 open cases. I want to bring your attention to one particular open case. That is a 2023 criminal trespass and a simple battery against a police officer, to which he received a signature bond. The recommendation from the state in this case is a $3,000 surety bond because we think he poses a substantial danger to the public and I guess to other officers given his conduct, given the seriousness of the matter. And then also we recommend no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Mr. Pierre Thomas, just so I'm clear, those other open cases that you just mentioned are in state court here?
Yeah, they're all in Fulton County, so they're all CR numbers. So the willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer has a $3,000 signature bond. The other one has a $1,500, and when I say the other one, the criminal trespass alone has a $1,500 bond, surety bond. And the one that involves the simple battery against the police officer has a $3,000 signature bond.
Do you know if I signed any of those bonds?
One moment, Your Honor.
Okay, and as you're doing that, Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 41 years old. He's been living in Georgia since 94, so almost 30 years. He does have strong ties to the community. I was unable to confirm this information, but my client stated that his father is his legal guardian, possibly due to MH. So, Your Honor, I have requested a social worker get in contact with him to provide us with additional information. He does qualify for public defender services. He also has an address here in Fulton County where he resides, and understands his obligation to return to court. And so he is not a flight risk at this time and does have strong ties to the community. He also did mention that his sister is moving to Georgia next month. She's stationed in Korea. She's in the military and she will be taking care of him. That is what he stated. I understand he does have a criminal history, Your Honor, but he does deny these allegations. He did suffer a brain injury as a child, and so that might explain why he may or may not have a legal guardian. And so I am requesting a signature bond, Your Honor, through the jail. He does not object to staying away from this incident location, and not having any contact with, I guess, law enforcement office, whatever the law enforcement officer is, if Mr. Pierre Thomas requires that. And that is all.
Your Honor, it appears that the signature bond that was signed on the simple battery against the police officer was signed by Judge Mincy. I'm pulling up the remainder at this time.
Okay, that's fine, Mr. Pierre Thomas. I think that Ms. Abden, there might be, I'm concerned that there's so many in such a short period of time. As I would like for you to have a social worker visit with him. I am going to accept the state's request at this time as far as the $3,000 good bond goes. But what I would like, if he does not get out by the SAP calendar on November 21st, I'd like to see if we can place all these cases together, and whoever the PD is, to maybe we can come up with some global resolution. If there are MH issues, we can possibly address whatever the concerns are at that time. And if I need to, or someone needs to modify the bond, that you would have the information ready for them. You have something for me, Ms. Strong?
No, sir, I was waiting until you finished so I can address another case.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any input on this case. So it will be a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from the Lakewood Avenue address. No further contact with Officer Walker. No drugs, alcohol, weapons. Social worker visit. And if you can make sure, Ms. Abden, to whoever that the PD is that is in on the SAP calendars, that they're made aware of what we are speaking of today, so that they can properly address him at that time.
Will do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
I
Yes, Ms. Strong.
The Spanish interpreter asked if she could go next because she has something else to take care of, so we could handle her cases as soon as possible, if possible.
Okay, yes, thank you, Ms. Strong. And Madam Interpreter, if we can go ahead and take the her cases, I believe we'll go to courtroom 2.
That's ACDC, Your Honor.
Yeah, I mean ACDC, yes.
Sitting there is Miss Martinez, position 14.
14. And she will have to be unmuted at some point. Good afternoon. And Madam Interpreter, if you can raise your right hand for me, do you swear affirm that you will translate from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Martinez, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Señora Martínez, este es el calendario de acusaciones del Estado de la Fiscalía que está siendo presentado el día de hoy por medio de video. ¿Está de acuerdo usted y acepta estar por medio de video?
Sí, señora.
Yes, sorry.
Ms. Martinez, you've been charged with 1 count of battery.
Señora Martínez, usted ha sido acusada con un cargo de violencia.
Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 1 arrest cycle in Georgia.
Y su historial penal es otro arresto, un arresto en Georgia.
The last arrest was June 15th, 2023 out of Roswell.
El último arresto fue el 15 de junio del 2023 en Roswell.
For criminal trespass, and it appears that they're on probation.
Por traspaso criminal y aparentemente están bajo probatoria ahorita.
That case number is 23 CR 003829F.
Ese caso es del 23 CR 003829F.
The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2.
La recomendación de la Fiscalía antes de llegar a juicio es un UJR nivel número 2.
They have an 84% chance to appear for court and a 65% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond.
El cual tiene un porcentaje de probabilidad del 84% de permanecer fuera de la cárcel y el 65% de probabilidades de presentarse a su cita, a sus audiencias cuando están bajo fianza.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Sean, I just want to make the court aware that positions 14 and 11 are cross defendants. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1352 Northampton Road.
En este caso, la policía fue a la 1352 de Northampton Road.
Upon speaking with both cross defendants, visible injuries were observed on both parties. Each party advised the law enforcement officers on the scene that the other was the initial aggressor. At that time, warrants were taken out for battery for both individuals.
Cuando llegó la policía, tenían lesiones ambas personas y cada una le indicó al policía que la otra persona había empezado la pelea. Entonces, las dos fueron acusadas con el delito de pelea violenta.
Okay.
For Ms. Martinez, the state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services.
Para la
No
señora
further violent contact with Maria Herrera. And no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Para la señora Martínez, la fiscalía está recomendando una fianza bajo la firma únicamente, no ningún contacto violento con la otra persona, en este caso con la señora María Herrera, y no tener ni armas, ni drogas, ni alcohol durante el periodo de probatoria.
Additionally, the state is referring both of these cases to our pretrial diversion program, diversion program. That paperwork has sent to their respective attorneys, and we request that If it's their desire to participate in that program, the paperwork is completed and sent back to our office today.
Y aparte, la fiscalía ha enviado solicitudes a los abogados respectivos de ustedes dos para un programa de evitar ir a un juicio, el cual, si es que ustedes aceptan, sus abogados van a decir y van a enviar los papeles.
Sí, señora.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further.
Mr. Walker, are you also recommending violent contact for Ms. Herrera?
Yeah, the recommendation is going to be the same for both individuals, Your Honor. It's my understanding they reside together. I'm not sure what the court would like to do with the stay away provision, if any, but we are asking for no further violent contact with both parties.
And Ms. McLeod, you're representing Ms. Martinez. Who's representing Ms. Herrera?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, and are you both, have you had the opportunity to speak with your clients regarding you both about this, about the diversion program?
Yes,
Yes.
Your Honor. My client accepts. She wants to participate.
My client does too.
Okay, and are they gonna have a problem, if I order no further violent contact without a stay away?
That would be fine for my client, Your Honor.
And mine as well.
Okay, so if nothing further, since the facts are the same here, it will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact, Ms. Herrera with Ms. Martinez and Ms. Martinez with Ms. Herrera, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Ya que las dos, ambas de ustedes han estado de acuerdo con el programa de antes de llegar al juicio, entonces el juez dicta para las dos al mismo tiempo, tienen lo mismo. Es una fianza bajo firma de $1,000 para cada una orden de no contacto violento entre la señora Martínez y la señora Herrera. Y durante todo el periodo de que van a estar en probatoria, nada de armas, no drogas y no alcohol.
Okay, does that suit this? I'm just so I'm sure, Ms. McLeod, that suits you?
That is good, Your Honor.
Ms. Ty, that suits you?
Yes.
Okay, so good luck to you, Ms. Martinez. Let's bring up Ms. Herrera, who I believe is she in the court behind Ms. Ms. Martinez?
Señora Martínez, buena suerte. Por favor, puede levantarse y decirle a la señora Herrera que se siente en esa silla.
Gracias.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Herrera. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Buenas tardes, señora Herrera. Mi nombre es el juez Eric Morrow y estamos haciendo esta audiencia de las acusaciones, del calendario de las acusaciones por medio de video. ¿Está de acuerdo usted en hacer esta audiencia por medio de video? Yes.
I've had the opportunity to discuss your case with the solicitor and with your attorney. It will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Ms. Herrera, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
He tenido ya la oportunidad de hablar sobre su caso con la fiscalía y también con su abogada defensora. Y como yo me dicto para su caso también es una fianza bajo firma por medio de la cárcel de $1,000, no contacto violento con la señora Martínez y no puede tener ningún arma, ninguna droga, estupefaciente o bebida alcohólica durante el periodo de probatoria.
Sí, señor.
Yes, Your Honor.
To you both.
Okay, eso es todo para las dos.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, if that is all for the Spanish interpreter, may I be excused, please?
Yes, we appreciate you being here this afternoon. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time,
I'll
Officer.
see you next time, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, where to next?
Judge Morrow, for position 11, she also had $1,000 SOB through the jail.
Yes, she did.
Thank you. This is gonna be an add-on position to Mr. Marlowe.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Marlowe. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Marlowe, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006916G with simple battery and theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 74 arrest cycles in Georgia. Do you want to hear all the felony convictions from the 80s?
Let me hear just the last 10 years.
Okay, the last 10 years, we have in 2014, terroristic threats and acts, theft by shoplifting. The last arrest was March 7th, 2022 for a probation violation out of Fulton. There's 10 probation violations, 6 FTAs, and the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. They have a 79% chance to appear for court and a 55% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Hardy. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Home Depot located at 2525 Piedmont Road. At that location, officers spoke with the staff who advised the defendant was caught shoplifting power tools. Upon being approached by one of the employees, whose name is Mr. Darius Mitchell, the defendant did punch that employee, and that is the basis for the simple battery. To the one count of simple battery, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond. To the one count of shoplifting, we're asking for a $1,000 surety bond. No contact with the victim, Darius Mitchell. A stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 63. He is a disabled veteran. He's been disabled for 20 plus years, but prior to that had served in the Army. He tells me that he has an appointment to go inpatient for some treatment at the VA starting tomorrow for some issues that he has, Your Honor. He does deny that he punched anyone, and he also denies that he stole anything from the Home Depot. I would ask the court to give him a signature bond, since that is recommended, the UJR is recommended through pretrial, Your Honor, and so that he can get out of jail so he can go check into the VA, since he has an appointment to go inpatient there starting tomorrow. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. It will be a $2,500 SOB through pretrial on each count, which makes it a $5,000 SOB through pretrial level 3. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Stay away from the Home Depot on Piedmont Road. No further contact with Darius Mitchell. So, Mr. Marlowe, I'm going to let you out, but if you
Thank
don't
you,
show
Your
up,
Honor.
okay,
Listen,
listen to me. If you don't show up for your next hearing date, they're going to put a warrant out for you. So I'm letting you out, but you have to come back to answer to the charges at a later time for me, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, Mr. Marlowe. Anything further, Ms. McLeod, on this?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, good luck, Mr. Marlowe.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
That was through pretrial, correct, Judge?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Position 15, McKinney.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. McKinney. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. McKinney, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006908D with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 1 arrest cycle in Georgia. Their last arrest was September 14th, 2023 out of Atlanta while driving while license suspended. Appears that case is open 23-0000-9563. And the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2 They're showing an 84% chance to reappear for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 445 Cleveland Avenue, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Khadijah McKinney, that is the wife of the defendant. She advised to law enforcement officers that her and her husband were engaged in a verbal altercation, at which time he did become physical. He did pull her hair out, and there was visible scratches observed by law enforcement. We have not spoke with the victim directly, but we have spoken to her family, who has spoken to the victim. The victim is concerned for her safety. She desires a no contact. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from 445 Cleveland Avenue. No contact with the victim is Khadijah McKinney. FBIP course, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old, and as the state has said, he is married to Khadijah. However, I was under the impression, Your Honor, that this was a dual arrest, but the state said nothing about that. But
we're not proceeding with the charges against Ms. McKinney. That's why.
I'm sorry?
We're not proceeding with the charges against Ms. McKinney. That's why.
Okay, but they were both arrested.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. My client tells me that he needs to go back to the house. They share one child together, and I believe she's expecting as well, Your Honor. My client would prefer no further violent contact at this time because he has to go back to the house. That is where he lives. And he tells me that Mrs. McKinney has other places that she can go in case the court decides that they should not have any further contact, but he does not. This is where he lives, and this is where his daughter also lives. So he would prefer no further violent contact. We are fine with the UJR. We're fine with the UJR, Your Honor, but he does want to have contact for the sake of his daughter, and also she's expecting, and he would like to be involved with his other child when that child is born. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, I don't feel comfortable at this point in time, given that Ms. McKinney does not want contact. I'll have Mr. McKinney put your hand down for right now. Ms. McLeod, I'll give her the opportunity to speak with you if necessary after I finish speaking, but it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness. Ms. McKinney does not want contact, so no further contact. He is at this point in time to stay away from the Cleveland Avenue address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. There will be third-party transfer of minor children for visitation. And again, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. If Ms. McKinney desires something different down the road, then you can seek a modification of the bond at a later date. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. McKinney, if this was not related to your bond, I would advise you not to speak at all. If there's anything that you need clarification on, you can always contact me once you get out. But if this is not bond related, don't speak.
Okay, who do we have next?
Position 7, Gomez.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good afternoon. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Your Honor. Same to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Gomez. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? You're on mute, courtroom 2. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006899D with criminal trespass and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has one arrest cycle out of Connecticut. Their last arrest was November the 4th, 2022 out of Waterbury, Connecticut for breach of peace. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 1. They have a 91% chance to appear for court and an 80% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, the facts of the case is that on November 5th, 2023, the officer was dispatched to a fight call at the incident location of 165 Holly Road, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia. The officer spoke to the caller, who was actually the defendant, who stated that he was assaulted by his roommate, the victim being Christopher Parkin. The defendant stated that the victim asked him if he knew where his water was, and the defendant stated that he threw the water away because it was sitting next to the trash in the kitchen. The defendant advised that a physical altercation took place. The officer noted that the defendant had no visible injuries and that the defendant stated to him that he threw the victim's water away to be petty. The officer spoke with the victim, who advised that he could not find the 36-count pack of Life brand water, and he asked the defendant if he knew where it was. The victim stated the defendant told him he threw it away, and they began arguing. The victim stated that the defendant placed him in a headlock at this point, and that was before Mr. Pierre, the witness, attempted to break it up. The victim stated that a physical confrontation continued outside, and although there were no punches thrown, the defendant asked the victim, "Should I go get my gun from my room?" The witness, Pierre, stated that the victim never struck the defendant. Pierre also confirmed that the defendant threw the water away and that he placed the victim in a headlock. The witness also confirmed that the defendant threatened to go get his gun from his room before calling the police. Our office has not been able to get in contact with the victim. If we can sound for him at the appropriate time in accordance with Marcy's law. The recommendation from the state, however, is a signature bond through the jail. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and 1 anger management course.
If Mr. Parkin is with us and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Abden?
Your Honor, no objection to the signature bond through the jail, but this is my client's home. He does firmly deny the allegations. He stated that the complaining witness was violent towards him, and he has nowhere else to stay. So I am requesting that he be allowed to return to his home. And he is gainfully employed. He has been living in Georgia consistently for the past 2 years. He moved here to be closer to family, specifically his aunt. So he does have strong ties to the community. He's not a flight risk. He stated that there's never been any instances between them in the past. And so I am requesting that he be allowed to return and objecting to the 1-day anger awareness, as the signature bond recommendation was from the jail, and he would be unable to pay for it at this time.
And the state is just concerned, but given the mention of a firearm.
Well, we wouldn't object to a condition of no drugs, alcohol, and weapons while out on bond then.
Well, my concern is that no one has heard from Mr. Parkin, and I am reticent to place people back in contact with each other, especially in a living situation, when I don't have any information from Mr. Parkin. So until someone does hear from Mr. Parkin, I will accept the recommendation as far as the signature bond through the jail goes. So for the criminal trespass, $500 signature bond through the jail. For the simple battery, a $1,500 signature bond through the jail makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Parkin, given that no one has heard from him. As such, if Mr. Parkin is living at that Holly Road address, Mr. Gomez cannot go back there. He can have a one-time law enforcement one time with law enforcement to go to the Holly Road address. If Mr. Parkin is living there, then he cannot reside there. If Mr. Parkin is not living there, then he can reside there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Gomez, good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 3, Cloud.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Cloud. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Can you hear me, Mr. Cloud?
Yeah, I hear you. I said yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear you. I apologize, sir. You have been charged in case 23 CR 006897B with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
This defendant has 27 arrest cycles in Georgia. Felony conviction in 2004 for possession of controlled substance. 2006 aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and by a convicted felon. 2011 aggravated assault. 2012 theft by taking. The last arrest was November 26, 2022 out of Butts County for driving while license suspended or revoked. 6 probation violations and 1 FTA. And the recommendation from pretrial is UJR level 3. They're showing a 79% chance to appear for court and a 65% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Ms. Hardy. Mr. Pierre Thomas.
Brief facts of the cases that on Friday, November 3rd, 2023, the officers were dispatched to the incident location, that incident location being 576 Lee Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to a business burglary. The alarm company initiated an audible alarm and a male was seen entering the building through the roof. Upon arrival, the officer was flagged down by Mr. James Mordridge and Mr. Trevon Mordridge, who are the employees of the business next door. The 2 males stated that there was an unknown male inside the business next door and that he should not be inside the location. The defendant was ultimately detained after contacting the owner of the business, Miss Margaret, Margaret, and Andega, Andega. She stated that she didn't give the defendant permission to be inside of the building. However, Ms. Andega did advise that there was an unlocked door near the roof of the building, and that's how the entry was made into the building. The defendant ultimately vandalized the countertop and multiple items that consisted of a ice maker and a microwave. Your Honor, the defendant, these charges essentially equate to would be burglary in the 2nd degree. The defendant has quite an extensive history to include theft and violence. The recommendation from the state would be a $3,000 surety bond, a no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a no contact with the victim, Miss Andega, and a stay away from that incident location. And if at this time we can sound for Miss Margaret Andega in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor.
Mr. Pierre Thomas, I only have one charge, a criminal trespass charge. Is that the only?
That is charge? The charge. Ultimately, we were saying ultimately could possibly be transferred as a burglary. But really, given the facts, it really is 2 counts of criminal trespass, one for the damage to the property and one for the entering the location, actually.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about. I wanted to make sure that there was only one charge. Okay. Thank you. Ms. Andega is present and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Does not appear so. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to confirm, there's currently 1 charge for criminal trespass?
That is confirmed.
And was the case sent over to the DA's office?
There was some communication between the DA's office and our office, yes.
And they declined?
I do believe that they might have declined at this point.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, my client is 38 years old. He's been living in Georgia his whole life. He has family here in Georgia. He has strong ties to the community. And so he's also not a flight risk at this time. He does have a mailing address in Fulton County, but he's residentially insecure. As of recently, I have already connected him with a social worker. And despite his residential insecurity, Your Honor, he does have a job. He's gainfully employed. He works for a wedding planner for the past month and a half. And he would not qualify for public defender services if he keeps that job, Your Honor. But the longer he does remain in jail, the more likely it is that he will lose that job. He does deny the allegations. He stated that this was a big misunderstanding, and he does not object to the stay away. Your Honor, these are just allegations at this time. He was recommended for a a signature bond through pretrial level 3. I am requesting a signature bond through the jail, and if your honor is not inclined, a signature bond through pretrial. And that is all.
Okay, $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No further contact with Miss Andiga. Stay away from the Lee Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Cloud.
Thanks. I guess.
You're done. Get up.
Oh, man, I don't know how to say
Such a bad attitude.
it.
Yes, I agree, Judge. This is add-on position 1, Mr. Bonner.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Bonner. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bonner. You've been charged in case, afternoon, sir. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006895A with simple battery. Is there a history? Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 38 arrest cycles in Georgia. Felony conviction in 2006 for possession of controlled substance, 2020 burglary. There's a 2013 misdemeanor conviction for battery family violence. Their last arrest was June 23rd, 2023 out of Clayton for an FTA. It appears to be a hold out of Americus, Georgia for a probation violation. The date on that warrant is August 30th, 2023. Seven probation violations, 2 FTAs, and the recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 2. They have a 79% chance to reappear for court and a 65% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Mr.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that the allegation is that on November 4th, 2023, the defendant punched the victim being Aisha, I-E-I-S-H-A, Hardey, H-A-R-D-E-Y, in the face multiple times. The victim showed the officer that her ear was red, but did not have any other bruising or swelling. Your Honor, I believe that hold that Madam Pretrial spoke of might be associated with the 2020 burglary in the second degree out of Sumter, to which he received 5 years probation. I believe he was still on probation at the time of this offense. The recommendation from the state is a $2,000 signature bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, Aisha Hardey, and 1 anger management course. If we could sound from Ms. Hardey at the appropriate time, that would be greatly appreciated.
Ms. Hardey is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 56 years old. He's lived in Georgia his whole life. He's recently unemployed. He lost his job 2 months ago. He was working at a restaurant. He's actively looking for work, and he has interviews coming up the next 3 to 4 days. And so, Your Honor, his indigency is a concern. Given the fact that he has a hold, he will be transferred there. And so I am requesting a signature bond through the jail. He does deny the allegations. He has no objection to a stay away and a no further contact with the complaining witness. He claims he does not know her.
Okay, $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Stay away from the incident location, no further contact with Ms. Hardaway, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Bonner.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good job, correct, Judge?
Yes.
Okay. Come on, Mr. Duffy. Position 5, Duffy.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Duffy. I'm Judge Eric Moore. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Duffy, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006905E with theft of service, criminal trespass, public drunk, disorderly conduct, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant is a multi-state offender with arrests out of Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Oklahoma. There is a misdemeanor conviction in 2019 for DUI. Their last arrest was November 26, 2022 out of Fulton for a criminal trespass. The recommendation from pretrial is UJR level 2. They have a 79% chance to come back for court and a 71% chance to remain arrest-free while out on bond. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, this defendant has 5 charges, so the facts may not be so brief, but they will be concise. The facts are that on November 3rd, 2023, the officer responded to a call involving a theft of service from Chops Lobster Bar located at 70 West Paces Ferry Road, Northeast Atlanta, and a criminal trespass from the One Buckhead Plaza located at 3050 Peachtree Road, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30305 in Fulton County, Georgia. The officer was flagged down by the Director of Security at One Buckhead Plaza, Officer Brian Jenkins. The security officer, Brian Jenkins, advised that the defendant was previously escorted off the property after refusing to pay for services from Chops Lobster Bar and he was trespassing on the property. The security officer Jenkins advised that they had just recently called 911 after the suspect began to attempt to fight patrons at the Buckhead Market Shopping Center across from the location, which is at 77 West Paces Ferry Road, Northeast. Security officer Jenkins stated that the suspect then came over to their property at the 30350 Peachtree location, cursing out the security staff and refusing to leave the property. The security officer advised that an Atlanta police officer came to the location and then escorted the defendant off the property under which he was given a criminal trespass warning from that location. The defendant then returned again to the location actively under the influence of alcohol and threatened Officer Jenkins and his security staff at the location. Specifically, the threat was of physical violence. He threatened that he would beat their ASS. The officer approached the suspect, when the officer approached, the suspect took off south on Peachtree Road, Northeast towards Far Road. Once the officers eventually caught up with him, they placed him under arrest, but the defendant physically resisted and refused to place his hands behind his back. The manager, Kevin Brown of the Chops Lobster Bar, advised the suspect came into the restaurant, ordered an espresso martini, which is valued at $20.14, and then walked out of the location without paying for said alcohol. I believe that is the indicia for all 5 charges, Your Honor. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, a no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a no contact with the security officer or the manager from that Chops location. The manager's name is Kevin Brown. The security officer's name is Brian Jenkins. He's also the victim on the disorderly conduct. And stay away from all 3 of those locations. The locations, again, is 350 Peachtree Road, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30305. That is the One Buckhead Plaza location. The 70 West Paces Ferry Road, South Atlanta, Georgia, 30305, the Chops Lobster Bar, and that 77 West Paces Ferry Road, Northeast location, which is another mall, and a anger management course, the completion of an anger management course. The officer in this case or the victim in this case is an officer, so I don't believe we need to sound for the victim.
Okay, Ms. Apton?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 28 years old. He's been living in Georgia consistently for the past 2 years. So he does have strong testing immunity, and he's not a flight risk as he does reside here in Georgia. He graduated from high school, attended Clemson until he had to medically withdraw in 2016. He's gainfully employed. He works as a server, not at this restaurant. And he does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. Your Honor, this was a big misunderstanding. Without going too much into the facts, his card got declined. He was trying to walk over to the adjacent business where his old boss still works. He wanted to just, see if he can help him out. The whole thing escalated. As you can see, he does have a black eye, Your Honor. He, is not sure who had punched him, but, he was never violent towards anyone. And so a stay away and a no further contact from those two individuals would not be objected to. And I am requesting a signature bond, and that signature bond be through the jail if Your Honor is inclined, and if not, a signature bond through pretrial level 2 would be okay as well.
So for each charge, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, makes it a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Stay away from Chops, stay away from Buckhead Plaza, no further contact with Mr. Jenkins, no further contact with Mr. Brown, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 6, Evans.
Good afternoon, Mr. Evans. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Evans, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006896C with loitering and prowling and possession and use of drug-related objects. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 19 arrest cycles in Georgia. Felony conviction in 2022 for theft by shoplifting. Also in 2022, aggravated assault. There's a 2019 misdemeanor conviction for disorderly conduct. The last arrest was October 13th, 2023 out of DeKalb for possession of methamphetamine, possession of the tools for the commission of a crime, and theft by shoplifting. And it appears that they're on probation for that case. And then there's two probation cases here in Fulton. Aggravated assault, that one is 22 SC 181506. Theft by shoplifting, 22 SC 182721. And then there's 4 FTAs. The recommendation from pretrial is a UJR level 3. There's a 79% chance that they will appear for court and a 55% chance that they will remain arrest-free while out on bond.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Carvana located at 166 16th Street. Upon speaking to the building security, they advised that the defendant was walking around the premises after hours. He is not an employee of that business. At that time, he was detained for loitering and prowling. Search incident arrest revealed that he had a crack pipe in his backpack. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services to stay away from the incident location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
If okay with you, Ms. Abden, I'm going to send it through the jail. So it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each offense, which makes it a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from 166 16th Street. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
I got you. 1 second. So, Your Honor, for the stay away, so that address also has a storage unit over there. And he has a storage unit there. That's what, he was doing. That's why he was there. There's no objection to the stay away from Carvana, but he does need to go back to the extra space storage located by that location.
So the 166 16th Street, what is that? Is that the Carvana?
That's the Carvana, and I'm familiar with this location. The storage facility is a separate business in and of itself, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, so he can't go to the Carvana, but he can go to a storage building. So just don't go to Carvana.
Thank you, Your Honor. So no other objections, and he did want me to state for the record that he does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to you, sir. Okay,
We're completed here in courtroom 2. I believe that's everybody's case.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get position 6, Evans.
6. Now we
That's
just
the case
got.
we just did.
Oh, that's the case. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Just rushing through, Judge. I didn't write it on my calendar, but I wrote it.
Okay, you're fine.
Okay. And I believe that's everybody.
All right, very good. Thank you. We appreciate it this afternoon. Let's
Thank you.
see. Ms. Bridgewater.
Did-
Mr. Howard?
Judge, the Harvey matter, we can readdress that. I've been trying to get him on Zoom, but they've having problems with that, but I can get him on speaker like we did on Friday. So that the court.
Okay.
Can speak
Was there an issue? I mean, I think that Ms. Falk, did you, I mean, I certainly, if you want to just put it on the record, what the expectation is? Is he on?
No, Judge, I was waiting till we got to his case, but I can call, and they're at the airport now. Actually, he and his Miss Parker trying to get a flight today, they said.
Okay, we'll call, we'll go over the calendars and
Okay.
and you call, and then I'll speak with him after we go over the calendar.
Okay, sounds good.
If I'm not mistaken, I think we had one waiver.
That case,
You
no,
know-
that case is now on for today, Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay. All right then. Well, if we're ready, I'm ready. Once again, excuse me, the reset date for the SAP calendar is November the 21st. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 3, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Okay, 5, reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 6, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. 7, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. 8 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. 9, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 10, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 11, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 12, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 14, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 15, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 16, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 17, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 18, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 19, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 20, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. 21, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 22, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 23, reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Add-on number 1 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. And the add-on for number 2, reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Great. We see you all next time, except for, were you able to get Mr. Howard?
Yes, Judge, Mr. Leonard Harvey is on the line on speakerphone. Mr. Harvey, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so if you are not affiliated with this case, and I don't think that we'll need pretrial for this matter, everyone is free to go. Thank you all. We appreciate it. Yes, Mr. Howard, as with Mr. Harvey, would you just go over the terms of the release with him, just so we can make sure that he is in agreement?
Yes, Mr. Harvey, per our discussion, the judge is agreeing to release your son on, well, I guess we were thinking Wednesday, to you and his mother, so that he could reside with you until you all were able to find him something, I guess, more suitable in terms of the medical needs he may have. And the court wanted to hear from you directly because you had expressed hesitation the other day about him coming to stay with you. The court wanted to hear again back from you, whether you were okay, with him coming to reside with you now. So that's why I had you come back on. All right. So if you could talk to the court about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear Mr. Harvey? So what,
Yes.
Tell the
Yes,
court.
he'll be able to reside with me. No problem.
Okay, you had some issues the last time I talked with you, Mr. Harvey, but you've resolved those issues and you feel comfortable with him being around you and staying in the household until you can find better placement for him. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Falk, any questions that you would like to have addressed?
Mr. Harvey, what changed your mind about having your son stay with you?
Because I was thinking it over, and he wouldn't have nowhere to go if he went out outside my house. He would have nowhere to go because he had nowhere to go. I'm his father, and I would be willing to take him in.
Okay. And just so you understand, one of the conditions is that within 30 days, he has to have an evaluation. Are you comfortable with making sure that he gets to that evaluation?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, and do you also understand that he cannot have any contact with his wife, Miss Harvey, and can't go to her residence? Are you aware that those will also be conditions?
Okay. Yes, I understand.
Okay, then Your Honor, the state has no objection to the bond as we consented to with Mr. PD Derek Howard.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Harvey, for being here. I hope you have a safe flight home.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, so Mr. Howard, you're gonna get that bond to Ms. Bridgewater so she can get it to me and we'll get it signed and entered. I appreciate again you all working to assist in this matter.
Okay, Judge. And I'm just waiting on them because I think they're at the airport now to see if they can get a flight out today. Once I know for sure, then I can send the order. But if we can just get to you at some point.
Okay, Ms. Bridgewater will get it to me whenever she gets it.
And PD Howard, I know you always do this. Just CC it to me as well, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Anything further that you need, Ms. Bridgewater?
No, I'm good.
All right, just wanted to make sure. All right, y'all have a good rest of your day. I appreciate everybody.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Okay.